I do want to mention a quick note because we're not talking Heisman on this episode. And you want to know why, Joshua? Because I can't. I'm not allowed to. I'm not allowed to tell you. Well, we can talk about it, but I'm not allowed to tell
but
you who I
you
voted for.
can't. Sure.
And this is so antiquated and silly. I think it takes away the buzz from the entire week when all of these people who cover the sport can't say who they voted for. So they took this away, or they made this rule that we can't say who we voted for until the award has been given out, because people would write columns saying, here's what I voted for, or tweeted or whatever. And people would like compile a list.
Yes.
And like kind of, do a straw count and like figure out who won the Heisman. Most years it's lopsided or obvious. I don't think that takes away from anything. We still watch. We watch the speech. We want to see that moment. It's an incredible moment. And now you just have nothing, because I can't write a column this week leading into the award of here's why I voted for so-and-so and celebrating their season. I can't say it on the radio. I can't say it on podcasts. I can't say it on television. And what it does is it just mutes the entire conversation. I just think it's been such a miss. It feels like it's such an afterthought, where Heisman Week used to be, a pretty big deal. Like there was a lot of buzz going into it, and now there really isn't until it's literally handed to the winner, which
the only
I just
thing
think
that
it's
you
such a
get
miss.
Is the people taking the screenshot of the submission that says, thank you for turning in your ballot or whatever, which really stinks. I'll say this about the Heisman, and it feels like Fernando Mendoza is going to win it, and I want to just give a pre-congratulations on that. Hell of a season for Indiana the whole way around. This feels like a year where these guys probably wouldn't be in New York in different years. And I think that's a really interesting thing. And I don't know if this is a trend that is going to start to happen, because last year was a non-traditional year. Is this whatever it is, but it certainly feels like an odd year where I think up until very late, we were kind of like, well, this guy's still in it. This guy's still in it. And then it kind of zeroed in on, well, it's the Big Ten championship, and if you don't like these guys, then you're probably voting for Diego, right? Like that's what it kind of felt like toward the end.
Do you think it's because the 2 years of the 12-team playoff, last year's top two vote getters were Colorado and Boise State.
Yes.
This year it could be Indiana and Vanderbilt.
Right.
So do you think that's because we're watching more teams because more teams are alive in the playoff, or do you think that you're just saying these have been weird years where we could go back to kind of like the blue blood quarterbacks or running backs or whatever it is next year?
I think it's a combination. I think that people genuinely are watching more things, right? Like you had to watch Colorado. That was something you had to watch. You had to watch Boise because they were going to be in it, right? And then to your point, Indiana, number 2 team in the country all year. Now they're number 1. Like you're watching them, and then Vanderbilt is something that you watch. So I think that absolutely factors into it. I also look at the quarterbacks. It became a quarterback award. Like when I left college, kind of started that era where it just was like, it felt like a string of quarterbacks. And you're not seeing guys with playing in games that you're like, these teams are really in it. You're not seeing the 4,000 yards passing and 50 touchdowns, right? Like I watched Dwayne Haskins go out and throw for 50 TDs and not win a Heisman. We're just not seeing that right now. And I think that's been a big part of how you get to a point where it's like, okay, the default players I would typically pick, there's not one that's standing out right now. And now it just feels open.
Well, and I think too, like when you looked at the preseason Heisman odds, it was like all of those SEC quarterbacks.
It was, and none of them
were all
good.
Disappointing. And Cade Klubnik was on there. Like they did not live up to that. So I think if any of them had good seasons, they could have run away with it because like they had that name recognition and stuff coming into the season. Even like Lenora Sellers, if South Carolina went 9-3, he had that buzz coming into the year. So it has been a weird one. And again, then there's no buzz this week because people who cover the sport, most of us have votes and can't talk about it. So
are you saying that we got to get the Heisman reconfigured for the new era?
I would, and I also would have a minimum of 5 finalists invited to New York. There's no reason to me that we can't celebrate an extra person. Why? And then you get to be a Heisman Trophy finalist for the rest of your life. But also
it's a big deal.
The New York experience is actually really cool. Those players always talk about it, being around each other on that little award circuit, being at the ceremony, even if you're not going to win it. Like you get to meet all these legends of college football. Why aren't we celebrating? Bring 10 guys. Why aren't we celebrating more people and their seasons that they've had in college football?
So
There's no
I'm
reason not
here.
to.
I'm here for the being around some of the legends thing. Like, I was out in Vegas for to celebrate Urban going into the Hall of Fame, National Football Foundation, and I bumped into so many people out there, and people I hadn't seen in over a decade. There were people that I see pretty regularly, but for these guys kind of to be exposed to that, I think is a huge thing. Like it, there's nothing like connection in this sport. I think it's one of the things that makes this sport different than anything else. And so you can convince me based off of the idea of connection.